What would you do if a cop looked you in the eye and said, "We have witnesses who put you there"? If you start talking, you can hand them the exact words they need. If you stay calm and say the right sentence first, you can stop your own mouth from building their case. Hit subscribe right now because what you hear in the next few minutes could save your future when your heart is pounding and your brain wants to explain everything. And tap like now so you can find this again fast when you actually need it. If a cop says they have witnesses, your first job is not to defend yourself. Your first job is to shut down the trap. In this video, you're going to learn the first sentence you say, the question you ask next, the line that forces them to stop pushing, and the mistake that sends good people straight into charges they could have avoided. Most people have no idea that police can use pressure, silence, and even partial truths to get you talking. Let me show you exactly how smart drivers, smart parents, and smart workers handle this without yelling, without resisting, and without making things worse. You also need to know this is not just about the station or some crime show scene. This can happen to you on the side of the road, at your door, in a parking lot, or after a simple call asking you to come clear something up. A lot of people think innocence protects them. It doesn't. Your words matter more than your feelings in that moment. If you talk too soon, you can lock yourself into a story before you even know what they really have. Here's the reality. When you hear "we have witnesses," your brain wants to fix the problem right away. You want to say where you were, who you were with, why they got it wrong, and how this is all a mistake. That feels natural. It also helps them. If two witnesses said different things, your nervous talking can accidentally clean up their weak case for them. You think you're clearing your name? You may actually be giving them a timeline, motive, names, and details they did not have 5 seconds earlier. I've analyzed over 200 body cam videos, and the same pattern shows up again and again. The officer makes the person feel cornered. The person starts talking just to break the pressure. Then the officer stops working and just listens. That is the danger. Your panic becomes their paperwork. Your rush to sound innocent becomes their report, their affidavit, and later their courtroom story. So the first tactic is simple, strong, and boring on purpose. You stop explaining and you invoke silence out loud. Here's exactly what you say. "I want to remain silent," word for word. Memorize that line. Not "maybe I shouldn't talk." Not "I think I need to be quiet." Not "I already told you I didn't do it." You say, "I want to remain silent." This works because silence by itself is not always enough. That shocks people, but it matters. In Berghuis v. Thompkins, the Supreme Court said just sitting there quietly was not the same as clearly using your right to stay silent. In plain English, if you only stare at the table and then later answer one question, they can argue you gave up that protection. That is why you must say the words. This comes straight from Supreme Court rulings. You do not hint, you do not mumble, you say it clearly, and yes, this is 100% legal. You are not looking guilty by using your rights. You are acting like somebody who understands how pressure works. Miranda v. Arizona said you have the right to remain silent when police question you in custody. Plain English, you do not have to help them build a case against you with your own mouth. That warning exists for a reason. Now here's the part people miss. If a cop says "we have witnesses," that does not mean the case is strong. It may mean they want to see if you will fill in the blanks. In Frazier v. Cupp, the Supreme Court allowed police deception and questioning in a way that still shocks a lot of people. Plain English, police can sometimes lie or bluff during an interrogation. So when you hear "we have witnesses," you should treat that sentence as pressure, not proof. Here's the trick they don't want you knowing. Your best move is not to beat their claim. Your best move is to stop giving them material. Bad way. Most drivers say, "That's impossible. I was only there for a minute, and my friend can tell you what happened." And they hand over times, names, and details that can be checked, twisted, or used against them. Good way, smart drivers say, "I want to remain silent." Then the officer gets no free timeline, no emotional confession, and no extra facts from your own mouth. Defense attorneys use this exact line in court because your silence protects you from the biggest danger in that moment, which is you trying to sound helpful. If you skip this tactic, you can talk yourself from witness to suspect in under a minute. If you use it, you force the case to stand on what they already have, not on what you accidentally feed them. Have you ever heard a cop say something like this to you or somebody you know? Drop a comment below with yes or no, because I want to know how many of you have seen this pressure move in real life. Your second tactic is what you ask right after you invoke silence. You make them define the moment. You look at the officer and say this: "Am I being detained or am I free to leave?" Those exact 9 words. Say them calmly. Say them once, then stop. This matters because a lot of people stay in a fake middle zone. They are not under arrest, but they act like they have to stay. So they keep talking, they keep answering, they keep standing there while the officer keeps fishing. Your question forces a fork in the road. Either you are free to go or they are detaining you. If you are free to go, leave quietly. If you are detained, stop talking and keep your rights locked in. Watch what happens when you ask that question the right way. The whole vibe changes. The officer now has to choose instead of letting you drift into more conversation. That is power for you. It is not magic, and it does not mean they will smile and wave, but it stops the endless just one more question routine that keeps people standing there until they talk themselves into trouble. Here's the reality. Officers can ask some questions during a lawful stop, but they cannot drag a routine stop out forever just to go hunting for unrelated evidence. In Rodriguez v. United States, the Supreme Court said police cannot extend a traffic stop longer than needed just to do a separate investigation without more legal reason. Plain English, they do not get unlimited time with you just because they want it. If the reason for the stop is done, they cannot keep you there to fish around unless they have more. That way. Most drivers say, no, it's okay, I can stay and clear this up. Then they volunteer extra time, extra words, and extra chances to get trapped. Good way. Smart drivers say, am I being detained or am I free to leave? Then they either leave or they stop the casual conversation from rolling forward. Former police officers have confirmed this works because it tells the officer you know the difference between a real detention and a pressure chat. That matters. When you do not ask, you may stay there because you feel scared. When you do ask, you make the legal line visible. And if the officer says you are free to leave, leave. Do not stay to convince them. Do not stay to be polite. Do not stay because you think one more sentence will fix it. Your safest sentence was the question. Your smartest move is your feet. Let me show you exactly how this goes wrong for regular people. The officer says, we have witnesses who saw your car near the fight. You answer, I mean, yeah, I drove by, but I never got out. Now you just placed yourself there. Then they ask why you slowed down, then who else was in the car? Then whether you know the victim, every answer gives them a new branch. If instead you say, I want to remain silent, am I being detained or am I free to leave? You stop building branches for them. Legal experts agree this is your strongest protection in those first few minutes because it keeps you from living in that half-free, half-scared zone where most damage happens. You need clarity. You need less talking. You need a clean line. Your third tactic is the one that shuts the door when pressure keeps climbing. If they keep pushing or you are in custody, you ask for a lawyer the right way. Listen closely because this is critical. Here's exactly what you say. I want a lawyer now, word for word. Not, do you think I need a lawyer? Not, maybe I should talk to somebody. Not, can I call one later? You say, I want a lawyer now. Why so direct? Because vague words can fail you. In Davis v. United States, the Supreme Court said that a statement like, maybe I should talk to a lawyer was too unclear to force police to stop questioning. Plain English? If you sound unsure, they may keep talking like you never asked. That is why your words must be clean, short, and direct. I want a lawyer now. Then comes Edwards v. Arizona. That case matters because it says once you clearly ask for a lawyer during custodial questioning, police must stop the interrogation until counsel is there unless you start the conversation again. Plain English, your clear request is a stop sign. Not a speed bump, a stop sign, but only if you say it clearly. Bad way. Most drivers say, maybe I should get a lawyer or something. Then questioning keeps going and the pressure keeps working. Good way, smart drivers say, I want a lawyer now. Then the legal rule changes and the officer is supposed to stop the interrogation. Watch what happens after you use this line the right way. The officer may try one more friendly sentence. They may act disappointed. They may say, if you didn't do anything, why not clear it up? Do not bite. Do not explain why you want a lawyer. Do not defend your choice. Just repeat, I want a lawyer now. That repetition protects you. Your lawyer's job is to sort facts. Your job is to stop the leak. A lot of innocent people hate this tactic because they think asking for a lawyer makes them look guilty. That feeling can ruin you. Guilty people ask for lawyers. Innocent people ask for lawyers. Smart people ask for lawyers. Your rights do not belong only to guilty people. They belong to you. And when stress is high, your memory gets messy, your words get sloppy, and your need to be believed gets dangerous. A lawyer is not a sign of guilt. A lawyer is a seatbelt for your mouth. If you've made it this far, you're serious about protecting yourself when pressure hits. Show me by hitting that like button, because the next part ties all of this together, and most people never learn it until it's too late. Your fourth tactic is for the moment they try to turn words into a search. Maybe they say witnesses saw you hide something. Maybe they ask to look in your car, your bag, or your phone. Here's exactly what you say. I do not consent to any searches. Keep it calm, keep it short, then stop talking. This line matters because your consent can erase a huge layer of protection. If you say yes, you make the search easier for them. If you say no, you keep your rights alive for later review. Now be smart here. If they search anyway, you do not physically resist. You do not grab anything back. You do not argue with their hands. You simply say, I do not consent to any searches, and let your lawyer fight that battle later. This is 100% legal. You are allowed to refuse consent. That does not guarantee they stop. If they claim they have another legal reason, they may still search. But your refusal still matters because you did not give that permission away for free. Bad way. Most drivers say, I guess that's fine. I've got nothing to hide. Then they lose the chance to challenge the search as consented. Good way, smart drivers say, I do not consent to any searches. Then they keep one of their biggest protections in place, even if the officer pushes forward. You also need to understand something simple. Refusing consent is not the same as resisting. Refusing is words, resisting is force. Never mix those up. You can be polite and still be firm. You can be respectful and still protect yourself. That balance is exactly what keeps you safer in the moment and stronger later if your case ends up in court. Now tie these rules to the law so you can remember why they work. Miranda versus Arizona says police must warn you about your right to stay silent and your right to a lawyer before custodial questioning. In plain English, if you are being questioned in custody, your mouth is dangerous unless you lock it down. Berghuis versus Thompkins teaches that silence alone may not be enough. In plain English, you must clearly say you are using your right to remain silent. Davis v. United States says a vague lawyer request may not stop questioning. In plain English, maybe is weak, but I want a lawyer now is strong. Edwards v. Arizona says once you clearly ask for a lawyer in custody, questioning is supposed to stop. In plain English, your clear request changes the rules. Frazier v. Cupp shows police may use deception during questioning. In plain English, we have witnesses may be true, half true, or a bluff, so you should never treat it like proof. And Rodriguez v. United States says police cannot stretch a routine stop longer than needed just to go fishing. In plain English, your time with them has limits even when they act like it does not. Now let's walk through the real-world version so you can hear how you would use this. You are driving home. Lights flash, you pull over. The officer walks up and says, we have witnesses who say your car was at the scene of a hit and run. Your stomach drops, you know you were near that area. You feel the need to explain right now. Bad way. You say, no, you've got it wrong. I was there, but I never hit anybody. My cousin was with me. We only stopped for a second. Then the officer asks for your cousin's name, why you stopped, why your bumper has a mark, and why your phone shows you in that area. You thought you were helping yourself. You just built their interview for them. Good way, you take one breath and say, I want to remain silent. The officer pushes and says, if you didn't do anything, why not clear it up? You stay calm and say, am I being detained or am I free to leave? If the officer says you are being detained, you stop there and add, I want a lawyer now. If the officer asks to search your car because witnesses said something was hidden inside, you say, I do not consent to any searches. Then you shut up again. That is the whole game. You are not trying to win the debate on the roadside. You are trying to avoid losing your case in the first 5 minutes. Let me show you exactly why this works. In the wrong version, your fear creates evidence. In the right version, your discipline forces them to rely on what they already have. That difference can shape your whole future. Your words should not be the easiest thing they collect that night. Next week, I'm dropping the video on what you should say when cops claim they smell weed during a stop. Subscribe right now so you do not miss that one because your response in that moment can change everything for you. So remember the 4 moves. First, when you hear we have witnesses, you do not explain. You say, I want to remain silent. Second, you force clarity by asking, am I being detained or am I free to leave? Third, if the pressure keeps coming or you are in custody, you say, I want a lawyer now. Fourth, if they try to search, you say, I do not consent to any searches. You do not argue. You do not perform innocence. You do not try to out-talk trained pressure. You use short lines, calm voice, and 0 extra facts. That is how you protect your future when your nerves are screaming at you to do the exact opposite. Hit subscribe so you catch the next video before your next stop catches you off guard. Smash that like button if this gave you a script you can actually remember under pressure. And drop a comment telling me which line you're going to memorize first. Stay safe, stay calm, and protect your words.